Welcome to an Alien vs Predator video today. Today we are doing the Predator campaign mission, The Jungle, on Nightmare difficulty. We're going to be flying through it, hopefully at a good rate. It took me about 20 minutes before. I bet I could do it in probably about 10, give or take. And here we go. We're just going to skip the nonsense cutscene and we're going to get right into it here. There's a little bit of a tutorial when you first start The Jungle. It makes you wait and learn how to jump and teaches you the basics about your thermal imaging and all that fun stuff, as well as being able to zoom in and focus on targets, distract them, all that good stuff. So basically right off the hop, we got these two guys here. In order to proceed with the mission, we have to eliminate all the Marines in this area. I believe there is 4 of them. So we're just going to have a classic approach to this, and we're going to try and take everyone out as stealthily as possible. We'll see if we can kill everybody and or get through this without getting caught, and we're going to see what happens. But for now, it's time to sneak up on some prey.
Yeah, no one. Just bang. No more Marlowe.
I should be able to take this guy without his buddy knowing.
And their weapons.
The timing with these guys is kind of tricky because usually this individual here doesn't give you this opportunity. Usually he'll turn around pretty quick after his buddy dies, so this was a lucky one for sure. Now we have to progress and onwards. There's going to be 2 more Marines, I do believe, and there will also be a turret. Now we did not alert the enemies to our presence, so they don't know we're coming, so it's going to be a lot easier to distract them and then take them out one by one. You also want to be careful when you're doing this approach, because once you get past this big tree, basically they're right there around the corner on your left, and basically that sentry turret that's down there, that thing will mess you up real quick, especially on Nightmare difficulty. So I would highly recommend staying out of its field of view and or at a distance if you are in the field of view. I would recommend getting a good angle on these Marines here, luring them out one at a time, and then effectively destroying the turret once you no longer have to worry about them. So right now is about the time when it'll give you the tutorial and tell you how to distract the enemies and all that good stuff. It's actually really useful and pretty cool. It's a nice little ability. I like that they thought about putting this in.
On my way.
It will also say different things, so it doesn't just repeat the same voice lines all the time. It does have a good selection of ones to use, so it's really cool, different things to lure the enemies over. But if they are suspicious of your presence, sometimes they won't fall for it, and it will actually give away your location, especially on Nightmare. These guys with their radars are absolutely insane sometimes. If you don't get them really quick, you're in trouble, but luckily this gentleman didn't hear anything at all. Now there's just one more to go. I'm going to try and see if I can get an angle on him from here. I should be able to. Oh, perfect. We're just going to bring him over, lure him, see if he gets alerted by the body or not, I don't know, and then we're going to take him out. We're going to hang out by the tree, just like that one scene in Predator 2 with the "want some candy" in the graveyard. That's so trippy, man. That'd be so scary to hear. Oh man, I love those movies so much. Alien vs Predator, the Predator movies, I've always been a big fan. I've always preferred the Predator over the Alien. You know, they're still really cool, but they've just been my favorite. Such a badass creature, you know, just a relentless murdering machine with some weird morals, but you know, the Yautja are still pretty cool, I must say. So now that we've completed that objective, we're going to drain the power node, which is also kind of a teaching thing. Basically, as you're playing throughout the game, the power nodes are how you're going to recharge your plasma caster energy, basically for putting down your mines, anything that requires an energy source, and you're going to drain them, and oftentimes it will be used to open doors and things like that, but then they just become basically refills for you. For the most part, you're going to be smashing computers, laptops, and other things like that, such as equipment, so that you can progress. So now that we've done this, the door is open. There's no combatants, and we're going to move forward. There will be combatants ahead, though. Basically, we found the first young blood here that happened to die. He failed his mission, and that's all right. We're here to get rid of him, make sure there's nothing left behind. And then we're going to be attacked by some aliens. And now this is the first mission, so if you jump into this on Nightmare, you better prepare yourself. I would highly recommend blocking constantly, and don't be impatient. Patience is the #1 killer I found on Nightmare, especially when fighting aliens and multiple of them. I highly recommend you take it slow and really think about what you're doing. I almost would not recommend using your heavy blows at all, as it leaves you vulnerable to an attack. Aliens will die after 7 light attacks on Nightmare difficulty, and typically you'll get the opportunity to hit them twice in between blocks. When you counter their light attacks, you get the opportunity to hit them twice. When you counter their heavy attacks, I would hit them once, maybe twice, depending on the situation, because they can react really quickly. And you want to make sure you always counter that heavy attack or get away from it as quickly as possible, because it will drain your health insanely quick. If it happens twice in a row, you're dead. And try your best to never give your back to these guys, or you will lose every time, especially when fighting multiple. Now, in order to proceed with this mission, you do need to eliminate all these aliens, so there is no option to run past them like in other parts of the game. You have to fight, and if you die on Nightmare difficulty, you're right back to the beginning, slaughtering the Marines again. And trust me, you do not want to do that. There are a couple missions in this game where, oh my goodness, you die so many times, you repeat the same parts, and eventually you just get good at it, right? You do something 1,000 times, eventually you'll do it right, or you'll get better at it at least. So that's kind of how this game is, especially when you first play through. I would recommend playing through it on a normal. Me personally, I've played through all the campaigns on Nightmare. I've played this quite a lot, so I'm used to it, and I'm going to be continuing to do so. I'm going to play through every single campaign again, commentate over them this time, and give my opinions and thoughts. That way I can give my tips to you guys for getting through it on your own, as it is a bit of a challenge, but I am proud to have the achievements that I do for completing them. So if you want them too, my videos will be a great way to learn. Oh, I started to panic there. That guy, I definitely thought he was going to get me. I can't believe I let him grab me with that heavy attack. I got lucky for sure. I was able to run away. Now just to take out the remaining ones here, and then we're going to be able to progress. The next part is arguably going to be the hardest part of the mission for sure, given we have to traverse a swamp where there is a ton of Marines, and they can definitely outnumber and overpower you very quickly. You would think the Marines can't do much to the Predator, but I assure you their rifles melt you quicker than you can think. So we're going to progress onwards, but before we get to the swamp here, we're going to have to go in, and this part can be kind of tricky too, as there is a lot of soldiers nearby. But basically we're going to get inside this building here. I like to wait a second after we deactivate the power, because there's going to be 2 Marines that come out of the door, and you want them out of the way so you don't have to worry about them when you're trying to take the officer's head. So after you get rid of the power, just jump right back up onto the roof here, and wait for the guys to come out of the door just right here, and you'll be able to go in and go upstairs, to which there's 1 more Marine up there you will have to eliminate, and then you can grab the soldier's head. And as long as you were careful and didn't alert anybody, these guys will come out no problem. The first guy comes out, there's nobody else around that you need to worry about. Feel free to take a look if you need. These guys are going to come out. I'm going to distract him and just send him over there just so I know that he's beyond yonder. Now, if you do take too long to get to the power source that you saw me hit off, I don't know if you noticed that soldier to the right, he goes right to it. So it's best to get there as quick as possible. And now we're in the building. We're going to go upstairs. We're just going to jump at this Marine, I think, go balls to the wall and take him out and get rid of him. I wish that they were a little different in terms of spacing, but that's all right. We're just going to jump this guy, and hopefully we can eliminate him before we can get the officer's head here. However, oh no, I don't want to lock on. Oh my god, I'm choking, but that's all right. We'll get him. No worries. I'm so glad he turned around and is being kind of dumb. Thank God. I could have grabbed him, but if I do, I also risk the possibility of getting killed by the officer. Now, that was an example of just how the Marines are. They can deflect your attacks. They're a bit of a challenge, so you definitely want to be patient and or take them out as stealthily as possible. And now that we got this guy's head, we have to do some damage. So you'll be doing this a lot in the campaign, breaking these computers, and then also breaking these bigger systems too. It's very satisfying to smash. So now that that's done, there's going to be a bunch of xenomorphs flooding the compound now that the security is down, and basically the aliens and the Marines are going to be fighting way too much to even worry about you. I wouldn't even bother engaging them. They're going to be so busy with everything else going on. Just run past straight here to the icon that indicates your direction of travel. That way you're good to go. You're just going to take the officer's head here. Also, something we'll be doing a bit throughout the campaign is collecting heads and using them to get through doors, which is kind of cool. I like it a lot. And this next part, basically just run on through. There's going to be this swamp. You're going to be surrounded by a ton of Marines here. Honestly, I would recommend just running by. I totally didn't mean to go right beside these guys, but whatever, they didn't notice anyways. Basically, we have to get to a big building on the left-hand side, just up the hill here, and we have to get inside where the second young blood is and get rid of his body, to which we will also get the throwing disc, which is very cool. We get our next weapon right away in the very first mission, but we're going to have to take out a couple of these guys at least before we can get in there, so I'm going to hopefully try and do this as quietly as possible. If not, you're going to have a ton of Marines on your hands, or in this case, my hands, and we're going to see how it goes. Usually you can distract them and separate them, but I kind of messed up when I went by those other Marines, I think. But basically they all take different walking paths. One will go far away, some will go behind the building, so you will have a good handful of opportunities to eliminate these guys. You don't even need to worry about any of the other Marines out in the swamp. You don't even need to engage them at all, because once we get down here and we eliminate these guys, we're going to be using an officer's head to get inside the building. So I mean, if they are spaced out enough, you might be able to do it that way without having to worry. Now here I'm hoping that I can get this guy before he turns around, his buddy there. Now the crappy thing is, oh my goodness. Alright, yeah, see, death was almost instantaneous there, and I ran right into another Marine. That could have been it. That could have been right off. Complete restart right there, just by that one mistake. Oh my god. But for now, we got one down, but the other two should be separated because usually once they start shooting, they'll panic and run in a direction, so the other guy shouldn't be very close. I'm just going to take this guy out, and then hopefully his buddy is still farther away. Come here, sir. Now, as cool as the assassinations are, they are time-consuming, which is why I got kind of shot at by that Marine there. The issue is that you can't cancel out of it, so once you do it, you're committed to it. And depending on which assassination you end up doing to the enemy, kind of dictates how long. They're all typically, not super long, but the one that I got shot at was a little longer than some of the others, such as just slashing the throat rather than picking the enemy up while you kill him. But anyways, we're going to distract this guy and then get rid of him too, and at least there's no one around to shoot me this time. Oh my goodness, oh bro, come on. Oh my god. See, the thing is, I don't want to use the heavy attack because I don't want to give him an opportunity. So as long as I do this, I know that he can't do any major damage and we can just trade blows. So eventually I know that I should be able to overpower him, which is nice. So now we're going to take the officer's head, get in this building, get ourselves a new weapon. There is also a trophy belt inside if you're looking to collect them. There's many on each of the levels. And all you need to do really is hold the left trigger every couple seconds and it will show you where nearby items are. So the trophy belts are basically impossible to miss. But after we interact with this young blood, we're going to be moving on to the next part, which we're going to be running past all the combat because it is insane. Now that we have the bomb set to get rid of this guy, his technology, and his body, we're going to exit the building so we don't get affected by the blast. It's not as major as in the movies, but it does take up a proximity effect. Now basically we're going to try and run past all the xenomorphs that come after us right away, and there's going to be a ton of Marines in front of the doorway. Basically where that turret is where you need to go. You're going to wait for one of the Marines. After a few seconds of dodging the aliens, he will run and activate the door, which it will turn green, which you see right now, and he is activating it. I'm right behind them. They're so worried about the xenomorphs, they're not even paying attention to me one bit. You are able to make a ballsy, daring escape right out of the back of the level. Now when the door opens, there will be a couple Marines that pour in, but just stay cloaked and or just hurry your way through, run right past them, jump up, and you were able to complete the level. I would honestly skip all that combat nonsense at the end, or you're going to have a huge fight on your hands that you don't even need to deal with. Now having that said, we are moving forwards. Here is the Abomination on to mission number 2. It will be up soon. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the Alien vs Predator content, and I will see you in the next one.